Last time on Noah's Game Review. Noah was attacked by Crashman and he was blown up yet again. And he vowed that he was going to take action against people attacking him. And he went off to get armed. Find out what happens next on this episode of Noah's Game Review. Look, here at Noah's Game Review, I make a mistake sometimes. And a fairly big one I made was reviewing Duck Hunt without a way to actually play it. If you don't know already, Duck Hunt cannot be played on modern flat-screen TVs because of the way light guns work. This applies to all light gun games. At the time that I made the original video, I did not have a CRT television, so I could not. But now, I do. So we're back, reviewing Duck Hunt once again, and this time, I have the standalone cartridge. But where did I get it from? If you couldn't tell already, I really like retro video games. But buying them online can be a real pain. Between not being able to actually see them, not knowing if they're even going to work, and the prices some people want, it's just not worth it. That's why whenever I need retro video games, I go to the Game Cave. Located on 2012 Main Street in Penticton, British Columbia, Canada, the Game Cave is where I go for my retro video games. But they don't just have retro video games. They have everything, including the brand new PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo generations. And it's not just video games either. They have blind boxes, plushes, guides, accessories, controllers. There's almost nothing they don't have. They even have energy drinks. So, if you're in the Okanagan Valley and you need a retro video game or a modern video game, stop by the Game Cave. They provided the black box copy of Duck Hunt I'm using in today's video for free. So thank you to the Game Cave. Please check out the links in the description, which will be their Facebook and Google page. And just please, go check them out. Dumb Timely Productions sent ya. This is my first ever YouTube sponsor, so I don't really know how to end it. Let's get back into Duck Hunt, huh? Duck Hunt was one of the 2 pack-in titles included with the Nintendo Entertainment System in the Action set. It came on a combo cartridge, featuring both it and Super Mario Bros. However, a standalone version does exist, which is the one that I got specially for this video. The game consists of 2 different modes. You shoot ducks, or you shoot at clay pigeons. The game is pretty simple. However, it uses light gun technology, which I'll now explain. Basically, when you pull the trigger of the zapper, the screen momentarily flashes completely black with a white box where your target is. If the sensor within the barrel of the zapper sees the white square, it registers it as hit and sends that information through the controller port back into the system. However, this only works on CRT televisions, which means unless you own one, you cannot play Duck Hunt or any other light gun game on modern televisions, which is pretty sad. In my last Duck Hunt review, I didn't have a CRT, so I couldn't talk about what I thought about Duck Hunt, about how it actually plays. But now, I do. Well, alright, I guess I'll go set it up. So, now that I can actually play it, what do I think? Well, it's complicated. On one hand, it is really fun, and I can understand why this game is looked back so fondly on for being one of the NES launch titles. However, there are limitations based to how big of a CRT I have. Because of the semi-precision needed to accurately hit the ducks every time, the size screen that I have on my CRT just isn't big enough to be a really well-responsive experience. I'm not saying that it's horrible and that it's missing shots, but just with how small mine is, I have trouble hitting it. And that's a skill issue on my part, fully. I wish that the issue wasn't how big the screen is, but it was the controller. You know, and I understand that there are larger CRTs out there, but mine is one of the fairly standard sized built-in VCR ones, and I can't afford to buy one of the giant CRT televisions, you know? Do I recommend that people still buy Duck Hunt? Yes. It is an iconic part of gaming and Nintendo history, and it is fun to play. Do I recommend that maybe they just emulate it? Well, if you are okay with emulation and you don't care about owning physical hardware, you aren't like me. And that's okay, and you can do that. But what is lacking in the controls gets made up with by how nice it is to be able to play it on original hardware the way it was meant to be played when it came out. That's why I collect video games. And as much as I have my issues with it, Duck Hunt is a very fun game. Well, that was fun. I think I'm going to play something else now. Whoa! Whoa! What am I gonna do? The gun! The gun! Whoa. It is. Seems to be a gun. Oh man, I don't want to shoot my NES. I'll have to buy a new one. Okay. Game over. Well, looks like I'm going to be needing a new NES. But this, some sort of light gun. Light gun. I'll need to run some tests, but this might be the answer I've been looking for. But why did my NES do that? What caused the ducks to shoot out of it? Why'd the zapper turn into a light gun? A literal gun that shoots light? Just don't understand. Well, guess it beats getting attacked every single week. I don't know. Something just doesn't feel right.